It's time for our morning trade, and we take a look at Tesla. Of course, you know the big event was moved from June 12th to June 22nd, so we have that to look forward to. George Tsilis is with me taking a look at some of the analyst calls, at least Wells Fargo, expressing some concern. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on Tesla today at 323.
Yeah, I mean, well, some of the analysts like Wells Fargo are concerned really about the core delivery numbers for vehicle sales. And we're coming up to the end of Q2. And based on the consensus that Wall Street has, as well as guidance from the company, they're expecting about 400,000 units coming up, which is in the next couple of weeks at the end of the quarter. But that's down over 10% compared to about 444,000 last year. And even last quarter, if you look at the delivery numbers, they were down about 13%. So we're seeing sequential declines, if you will, in deliveries, also year-over-year declines. But if you look at the stock price action, even going back to the earnings, which were actually quite dire, if you look at the conference call and the earnings, this is going back to April, correspondingly with the market bottom after our correction from February, the stock has performed quite well. It's up about 40% since then. The Robotaxi event, which was delayed, is pushed till Sunday, which is the 22nd. A lot is riding on this particular event, considering, if you look at some of the EV sales, just from a core unit standpoint, deliveries are going to be down compared to last year. Tariff concerns. There's also regulatory tax credit concerns. If you look at some of the solar and wind stocks, like First Solar and Enphase, in the last couple of days, there's some proposals from Senate to the U.S. Senate to cut the EV tax, to cut the wind and solar tax credits, and that may impact Tesla's solar business as well. But again, from a technology standpoint, this is very important for Tesla because there's sort of a race in terms of technologies for autonomous driving, LiDAR and radar-based versus, camera-based systems that Tesla uses, deploying large language learning as well as artificial intelligence and software to better manage essentially lower cost hardware in their vehicles. So this is an extremely important event because if you look at the earnings estimates relative to the current price, the stock is still trading around 113 times next year's earnings.
Yeah, and you know what I'm looking at, by the way, as we talk about Tesla and the competition here, I'm reading how many of the American-made cars, these EVs, are definitely competitors and picking up speed. Yep. We know that abroad, China was offering subsidies, and that was detrimental to Tesla, even though they had one that did well there in China. But Europe and China have been particularly tough with the competition for Tesla. And this Robotaxi event, do we focus on the Robotaxis, the Cybercab, or do we focus on the cars? People are sort of confused on what they should focus on when it comes to Tesla. A final quick thought here?
Yeah, I think right now, from the investor standpoint, with the stock trading 113 times earnings or 10 times sales, it comes down to, will Tesla's technology be ubiquitous across the entire autonomous vehicle space? I mean, their whole premise behind their technology is to license their software to every single auto manufacturer globally. And right now, if you look at Waymo's technologies, they use LiDAR-based and radar-based technologies. You can obviously see them on their vehicles, whereas a Tesla, you can't really tell. They have, 12 or so cameras. They use software-based recognition to drive their vehicles. So we're seeing this race for technology, adoption. And I think Tesla's technology is extremely important, obviously for the company, but for the industry. But at the same time, they've got some pressure in the solar space with the credits. The EV tax credits are still uncertain or very iffy going forward. And total vehicle sales have been down. Prices have actually come down. And Tesla has reset the sort of price mechanism for vehicles. They're looking for a push on volume. And if their deliveries don't increase and lower prices, then you have a total decline in top line sales, at least from an auto sale standpoint. So I think the reaction will be very telling post the announcements for Robotaxi and the updates that Elon Musk and company provides.
Yeah. And, I'll add, when we have Tesla and Kia and all these names, people are really looking for EVs, those that are made here in the States now. They don't want to face the higher costs. But of the top 10 American best sellers, I guess more than half are EVs. They're not, it's not to say it's a revolution of some sort, but noting that there has been a trend here. That's what this article says. George Tsilis, thank you for your look there at Tesla today and what Wells Fargo and the others have been saying. Tim Biggam, options strategist with Buy Alerts, is with us. Your thoughts on Tesla? I mean, there are folks who still think that this stock goes to 1,000. There are still people who are really on board in a big way and others who are more apprehensive. How do you go about an example trade?
Yeah, I am probably not in the quite apprehensive camp, Nicole, but I'm certainly not thinking Tesla's going to 1,000 anytime soon. There certainly have been out there forever, the Tesla bulls, and will continue to be regardless. So I just think I'm looking at the technicals here, the stock having problems really getting through that 325 level, which equates right to the 20-day moving average as well. So had a very nice rally off the lows, to say the least here. Certainly the kind of negativity surrounding Elon Musk has kind of gone by the wayside here. So I don't think there's a lot to drive this stock higher, no pun intended. Even with the robo event coming, you might see a quick pop, but I think it'll be a classic, buy the rumor, sell the news. Certainly the stock ran up in anticipation of that. And as George alluded to in the last segment, deliveries actually falling, prices on Tesla's actually falling. So lower sales with lower margins, to me, isn't a bullish thing to look at. And robotaxis are down the road a far way, certainly. But I think, probably will be talked up big. And you might see a 1 or 2 day sort of rally. But eventually, I think, the fundamentals come to the forefront. And I think Tesla probably due for a pullback, not looking for a big one, just back to where it was basically a week ago, just below that 300 level. So I'm buying the traditional 290 puts in July and selling next week's 290 puts, paying a little bit under $7, and really just looking for a sharp 1 day pullback where this trade, which is cheap, IV is at under the 30th percentile. So this will benefit from a pop in IV as well on a pullback.
Okay. Thank you for that. So some apprehension, we'll get the big news on the 22nd of June, and we'll see. And as you noted, I mean, the robotaxi is a great idea, but also face a regulatory environment that will be very tough to get the okay from, the legal folks to get those out on the road comfortably. Let's talk about the big picture in the market. How are you feeling ahead of Fed Day tomorrow and so many headlines that keep crossing? At this moment, the market right now, the Dow's down just 50, certainly recouping much of the losses, and the S&P's down 11. So we have come up off the earlier lows of the morning.
It's getting a little worrisome to me, kind of the poo-pooing of all the negative potentials out there, certainly. I think the macro events really haven't had any big effect on the market here. I think interest rates, which we'll find out tomorrow if the Fed is going to at least talk a little more dovishly or not. I think they'll probably hold, kind of the same, viewpoint they've had here, which is, we'll, give you some cuts, but maybe next year. And with the 10-year yield still around 4.5%, stocks are at the highest valuations we have seen in many cases historically here. So stocks are expensive. That's why I think we're stalling out here at 6,000 on the S&P. So unless the Fed comes out with something pretty dovish, I think you might have a little bit of a pullback just with the fact that the Fed isn't going to be behind us. That Fed put may not be there as much as people think, or the strike price on it, if you will, be much lower. So I'm looking for a pullback here, certainly on the market, and some of the big names like Microsoft, which I think has gotten out over its skis as well here.
Tim, great to chat with you. Thank you so much. Good luck there at our trade and the big picture on the market. Thank you, Tim. Tim Biggam, option strategist at Buy Alerts.